What's up, boy? It's your boy Lo with Cinemental Imagery and Entertainment, back with another episode of MBT. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, 2 days in a row. I know, crazy, right? You know what I'm saying? I told y'all we back, and I meant that. You know what I mean? And this would, I guess, be Tutorial Tuesdays. Every day is not. I'm not doing a video every day, but I'm at least committing to these two for show. Music video Monday, tutorial Tuesdays. But that kind of depends. Is this really a tutorial? Anyway, let's get to it, man. Matter of fact, I am hungry. I'll be back. Alright. Yes, that was delicious. I bet you're wondering, why the did he do that? Well, basically, it goes in with today's lesson. You know what I'm saying? Basically, learning how to use your camera is like making boiled eggs, if you ask me. Or the basics of learning your camera is like making boiled eggs. What do I mean there? Well, let's say the pot is the camera, right? Well, you can't just make boiled eggs with just a pot, you know? So what do you need for your pot? Well, the shutter speed, your aperture, and the ISO, aka the water, the eggs, and the fire to make it. Learning how to use and control these three things will help you make better images in your photography. Trust me. So let's go through them. You feel me? Shutter speed. In photography, shutter speed or exposure time is the length of time that the film or digital sensor inside of the camera is exposed to light when taking a photograph. The amount of light that reaches the film or image sensor is proportional to the exposure time. 1/500 of a second will let in half as much light as 1/250 of a second. Basically, what all that bullshit said is the higher the shutter speed, the less motion blur. That's it. You get rid of all the blurriness. The higher you crank that thing up, the more action you can catch. You know, you can catch things instead of seeing them blur through. You know, it's just you can flash in mid-air, whatever they're doing. Even their hair strands, if you turn it up high enough, right? All that type of stuff. Let's get into an example, though, right here that I have to show you guys. So I took pictures of a quarter falling out of the air. On this first picture is one where I'm not using my shutter speed correctly, and I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm new to the camera, and I'm just trying to take pictures, and I'm like, man, what's going on? Why is it not doing it? How come this thing won't do it? Maybe even I got it on autofocus, so it's focusing on the wrong thing. You know, I don't know what's going on. Like, man, why don't this thing do what I need it to do? Well, that's because, like I said, that's because of this right here. It's because your shutter speed is not properly turned up to the high speed. Because once you turn that around and you crank up the shutter speed, as soon as you crank up the shutter speed, you get a picture like this, where I caught the quarter in the air. You know, which, I mean, don't mean to toot my own horn, toot toot, but, you know, this is not an easy shot to do. And I've done it a bunch of times, and I've been doing it for years. When I learned my first lesson on shutter speed, this was the first thing I did. Got 100 or A, whatever, on the project. Doesn't matter, it's all the same. You know what I'm saying? 8 plus, 100, whatever you want to call it. Look, and if you go to my Instagram, you can go look at the bottom. There's one of these images from a couple years ago. I did it after that again. You know what I mean? So, you know what I'm saying? Toot toot. All right. Now also remember, when it comes to shutter speed, the lower your shutter speed, the longer your shutter is open, the more light that's actually coming in into your sensor. Thus, at times, the brighter your image will become. It does kind of affect the brightness as well. These are things that you need to know, and we're going to get into all of that. Let me show you what I mean. Aperture. In optics, an aperture is a hole or opening through which light travels. More specifically, the aperture and focal length of an optical system determine the cone angle of a bundle of rays that come to a focus in the image plane. An optical system typically has many openings or structures that limit the ray bundles. Well, basically what that just said is the aperture is the hole that lets light in. You know what I mean? The lower your number, the bigger your hole. Also known as the f-stop. A f.1 is a bigger hole than an f22, for example. And know this too can affect the brightness of your image. It isn't the main function of the aperture in itself. That's really the space of what is and is not in focus. Check this example out, for instance. Now, as you can see from these beautiful candles, you know what I'm saying, which are in a video that I just dropped on our channel. The link down below, go check it out if you want to. But anyway, so yes, these candles were made by, you know, homegirl or whatever named Bree. She makes candles. It's, you know, they're really nice and they smell really good. As you can see, I have one at the house just kind of still here, like, you know what I mean, because I frequently use them. Anyway, it looks like a regular picture of somebody taking a picture, you know, of a candle on the ground on a balcony, right? You could, you know, see everything in the background, you know what I mean? Everything's cool. This is like, I think this was with an F22, if I'm not mistaken. I think I did open this up to like an F22. So you can really see everything in the background, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and then, you know, when you decide to know how exactly you're doing what you're doing, and this is, like I said, this is with the F22, which technically is a smaller hole. It's a smaller hole. The number is bigger, but the hole's smaller. So the F22, the hole's smaller, so you're able to, you know, beam in the focus and it sees more stuff in focus, right? Now, going to the next one, which I think this shot right here, I might have shot at like a F2 or maybe a 1.9. I don't know. The lens goes to a 1.7, but I might have shot it like a 2.2 or something like that. Not sure. I wanted, you know, I wanted to keep it close, but not too close. Anyway, you see how that completely changed the image though? You know, now, don't get me wrong, it also opens up the aperture. So how do you get it to be that same size? Like, you know what I mean? Or whatever. How do you get it to be that same color? Well, basically what you got to do is, number one, probably try messing with your shutter, right? I probably turn my shutter up or down or whatever, you know, fumble with my shutter to see what it can do, you know what I'm saying? Like, because if you turn the shutter up, it gets darker. If you turn the shutter down, it gets brighter, you know what I mean? So maybe I turned the shutter up so it wouldn't be open for so long while I took that picture in that focus. Either way, so I can get it to where it's not too bright. You see what I'm saying? All right. So like I said, now the shutter opens the aperture, and the aperture is the size of the hole that it opens and how much light that it's letting in. Now you got that, right? You got that. Shutter, aperture, boom. ISO. For digital photography, ISO refers to the sensitivity of the camera sensor. The ISO setting is one of the three elements used to control exposure. The other two are f-stop and the shutter speed. ISO originally referred to the sensitivity of film. It's the light gathering ability. Or in other words, it's artificial light being created or being taken away from the image. You know what I'm saying? Digitally. However, it can't make something bright in the dark or make something dark when it's super bright around you. You know what I mean? Like, it can't, you know, it can't just like create magic. You feel what I'm saying? But check out this example. Boom. All right, here as you can see, I just took a random picture of an Xbox controller. Now, it's very dark, you know what I'm saying? It's extremely dark. Why? Because the ISO was like super low. Like, I think I had it at like maybe 200, maybe 4, but it was one of those numbers. It was low, you know what I'm saying? But basically it just made it look real dark, even though it was daylight outside. It's actually, you know, like the middle of the day or something. It's like, I don't know, in the afternoon. And then I turned that ISO up a little bit. Maybe I might have went to 1600. I don't even know if I went that high. I might have went to 8 or 1600, one of those. You know what I'm saying? I think I might have went to 1600. If I was at 4, I went to 16, and if I was at 2, I went to 8. Basically, that's what happened. All right, so let's just say 1600 to be, whatever. Ooh, I'm rambling. All right, so anyway, as you can see, this picture is much brighter than the other picture, and it, I didn't have to do anything. This is when you have the perfect shutter speed and the perfect aperture that you want, and you don't want to change any one of those things. You got the right amount in focus that you want in focus, exactly out of focus what you want out of focus, the perfect shutter speed to catch the action that you need to catch in. You don't need to change any of those things. So what do you want to do? You want to try to mess with the ISO. That's the final thing. That's the last thing that you need to get this baby balling. You feel what I'm saying? Like them eggs, you know what I'm saying? Get these eggs balling. You need to turn that fire on, that ISO. How high or how low that fire is on you in this particular situation. You know what I mean? That's exactly what that is. So remember that part. Remember, I'm happy that I even put that together for you guys. Boom, you're welcome. Now here it is. The problem you may run into when using the ISO sometimes is that if you have to turn it up too high because it's just not bright enough and you can't get the correct picture you want, it's gonna give you a grainy image. It's going to give you a grainy image. If it's too dark, you're going to get a grainy image. This is why the sensor on the inside makes a difference for some people. That's why people like full frame cameras over micro four thirds. We'll get into that a whole nother day. You know what I mean? One thing at a time, guys. One thing at a time. Yeah, because grain is something you don't want. You don't want grain. Grain is also called noise. Noise is bad noise. You don't want noise. You remember that. Don't want noise. You know what I'm saying? Not at all. Every camera has a sweet spot, and a limit that you could do things before you start seeing noise. The camera might say it does 12,400 or whatever, you know what I'm saying, that it says it goes up to. But however, most cameras, the sweet spot is around 1600 though. Just gonna keep it real, and in low light, it's usually, about 4, depending on how low. Like if you can't get it in the 4 range, then it's not gonna come out too good for you in the dark. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what you want to understand is your camera. This is why we're going through these lessons anyway. Because go through your camera and find these settings, and then basically, practice on them. Just practice. Just work on them. Apply these things. You know what I mean? You have to be aware of noise. It's not something you want in photography or video. Not at all. You gotta be aware of noise. So basically, what we learned here today is the basic functions that you need in order to take control of your camera. You know what I mean? Because if you out here in these streets shooting photography, you need to know these things especially if you plan on taking this stuff seriously. Now, even if you just plan on having fun, you know what I mean? Because I don't mean to try to make this seem like, No, it's a fun thing. This is fun. I know some people probably watching this channel are probably just taking it as a hobby and they wanted to find something. You know what I'm saying? Well, you're welcome. Again. But seriously, this is how you unlock your camera to its full potential, to be able to do everything at its full potential. And so here's the challenge for you. Go out there in the world, because like I said, it's Tutorial Tuesdays. Look, go out in the world, you see what I'm saying? Do your thing. Go out in the world and explore and use these different techniques and play with these different functions of the camera. Like I said, these are the basic functions. You'll learn more and more as we continue on throughout this, but these are the basic functions. And then, put it down in the comments, or better yet, next week when the next video drop, put in that video the comments from what you did from last week. You know what I mean? Like, so next week when we reconvene, don't put it in the comment here. You make sure that I come back and work. Yes, so next week, put it in the comments when you see next week's video for next Tuesday. Because like I told y'all, man, it's Tutorial Tuesday, man. I'm getting up on it and I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, man, hey, look, I'm trying, man. Look, you know what I'm saying? You see your boy. You see. What am I doing? I don't know. See, this is why I sometimes just be like, don't be yourself and try to be extra cool with it, because that was stupid. But anyway, man, shout out to my day ones, you know what I'm talking about. I appreciate y'all for checking out each and every last one of our videos, you know what I'm saying. Check out the links below. Like I said, our social media, our everything, you'll be able to see exactly what we do here, you know what I mean, at cinementalimagey.com, you feel what I'm saying. But Like I said, hit us up, man. Leave me a like, comment, subscribe, you know what I'm saying? All that good stuff. If you know somebody who's trying to get into photography, man, share the channel. You know, they trying to get into video, share the channel, because I will be giving y'all more of this. It's going to be more tutorials as the time goes on, and by the end of the year, you'll have a whole lesson here, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's free. It's free. You know what I'm saying? It don't cost you no paper, man. You know what I'm saying? It's free. But yeah. All right then, man. Appreciate it. One.